Well, welcome to Mum with a Side Hustle. Let's start with this. What if the real magic of building a personal brand isn't in your polished content, but in the raw behind the scenes moments that make people feel like they actually know you? So, this week we're going to be diving into our everyday stories, our messy, meaningful, and honest stories, because these are the ones that build real connection. And I've actually been working on, as I always do, a simple template for you of how to turn your week into a powerful post. Just something that's happened this week, we're going to turn that into a great post, even if you don't think you're a writer. Okay. We're not going to stop there. We do need to cover something else as well. So we're week 6 of our Build a Personal Brand in a Year 8-week challenge. And we're going to be talking about email lists. So we're going to start back at the basics, what they are, why they matter, how to start one, and how to start building one even if your audience is small. Because visibility is important, but having a direct line to the people that you want to talk to is the most important thing. So yeah, that's where growth begins. Well, welcome, Pam. It's nice to see you here. Welcome everyone else to Mum with a Side Hustle. A big hello. These are the amazing mamas who are on the journey with me to build personal brands in 2025. We're all on different stages of the journey. We've got Karen, Jade, and Pam, and then there's 3 other amazing mums who join us too. So if you're here joining us live on Facebook or watching us later on YouTube, please drop a hi in the comments. We love connecting with others, and you are more than welcome to join us in the Zoom room too. You can join the Mum Tribe because we love connecting with more people. This week has been I'm going to title this When Life Disturbs My Rhythm. It's so great. We're so grateful that my husband and I get to work online because it gives us flexibility, but it also means that our life routines can get disrupted when we change our location, if that makes sense. We had to pop to Auckland to meet some family needs, and it pulled me away from the normal rhythm. And with everything else that I do, Mum with a Side Hustle gets put at the bottom of the list. So I'm always fighting to keep it at the top because it's my passion. I don't know about you guys, but I can get a bit discouraged when something that I care about gets deprioritized. But I try and remind myself I can adjust, I can come back to it because I always do. And that's how I keep going. I don't know what you tell yourself. And hope is tied to how we think about the hard things of our life. I really believe that. Hope is tied to how we think about the hard things that we face in life. And for me, it's keeping on believing it's possible even when it's not perfect. So just curious to know, a little open it up to the floor. Has anyone had anything throw them off rhythm recently? And how did you get back on track? I know personally all of you have had things going on, but I'll let you share your story if you would like to.
Sure. Oh, sorry,
Thanks,
Kieran,
Pam.
you're about to go.
She says, go for it, Pam.
Okay. Um, yeah, so I had my gallbladder out like 2.5 weeks ago, and I thought I was quite well organized because I had planned like 3 guest speakers, I guess you might say, to present the sessions for our training with the live training that I've been running. So
Yeah.
I was still going to do the live session. So I literally booked my surgery date to be a Tuesday because I have my live sessions on a Monday, and I thought 6 days to recover. I'll be ready for the next live session by the next Monday. And I got through that session fine. But one of the three people that actually two of the three people that I had asked to be guest presenters, one of them like notified me that it just wasn't going to work for them. And then the other one like literally just was missing in action.
Oh
I didn't hear
no.
anything from her. And she's still working on it for me. She told me she'd have it done by the end of the week just been, but she says I'm still waiting. But it's okay. Like I have grace for that. But it did mean that I had to kind of pull together and take one of those topics on myself and do like a very rough cut of a video to try and like give people some value on that
Yeah.
topic,
Yeah.
which was okay because I knew enough about it, but I was like full blown like recovering from surgery. So I wasn't like, so it's not a brilliant session and it's not one I'll keep in there long term, but definitely like being caught a bit off guard and having to just work with what where I was at and what I had to give was tricky, but got through
Well done, Pam. And I'm
it.
sure like what you gave them was, yeah, it was definitely valuable.
Yeah, it was kind of like good enough for now, but yeah, definitely not going to be a long-term session to keep in there.
How did you do that? Like you were recovering, so how did you like mentally, physically, how did you manage to get that done?
I think I just decided this topic would be helpful. I didn't usually I would go to the studio and do like the introduction and all the in-between chat in front of the camera. I
Hmm.
was like, I'm not going to do anything in front of the camera. I'm just going to do a screen share session. It
Cool.
was teaching people how to do branding in Canva, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not the greatest expert on this, but I did study graphic design and I do know how to use Canva, so at least I have enough of the tools in my toolkit to
Yeah.
work with it.
Yeah.
So, and then I just kind of did it off the cuff. I didn't plan any script. I just went
Yeah.
in there, explained how Canva works, why they might want to consider using it, and then just like walked through what I know about
Yeah.
like things that they could use it for. So it wasn't like too full on, but I just had to do it at a time when like after the kids were in bed and all of that. So just because I hadn't planned babysitters, I hadn't
Yeah.
planned
Yeah.
like studio time, or I just had to make it work with the time that I had, and that was okay. It worked out fine, but
It's sort of that readjusting expectations as well, eh? Like you're like, what is I can show up and do this, but it's not gonna be at the level that I want everything in terms of like your production, right?
yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
I can show up. So how did you think through that? Like, are you someone who finds it hard to change your standards or your expectations of yourself?
Yeah, I think I probably am, especially because what I'm trying to build is for the long term. So it's
Yeah,
hard for me to
yeah,
think of like is there much point, especially because it's a small group, like even putting the time into this. But
yeah,
I'm also someone who's like highly committed to delivering,
yes,
massive value for, a relatively low price.
yeah,
Because that's just for me, that's like an issue
yeah,
of integrity. And so I won't shy away from that. So I'm the sort of person I think that just rises to those challenges and figures out a way to make it work. And short term thing, answer to the problem is good enough for the time being. I think I had a few options. The other thing I was weighing up was like, do I just tell them, look, we're not going to have a session on this time, but as soon as we get one, you guys will get access to it in the future,
yeah, yeah,
which would have been okay. And like, they may not all of them said they have used Canva before. So I was like, great, it's not like needing to be the perfect Canva for dummies kind of thing. Like at least they
yeah.
have a bit of an idea. So yeah, I think it probably wasn't a hugely important thing to have to take on. But the other one that I'm still waiting on is one that I would have to do a huge amount of research to be able to cover her topic. So
Yeah.
I've said to them, look, you guys, it's not critical for the program. So I'm like, you guys keep doing what you're doing. And as soon as this session's live, I'll share it with you and we go from there.
Yeah. Man, Pam, you're doing so awesome. I think like I feel like I want to celebrate all of us, like in the season of choosing our children as our priority, to say I'm going to add another side hustle to it. It does need to be acknowledged that that is courageous because when everything's working okay and everyone's functioning and healthy, then it's easy. Well, it's not easy, but it's definitely possible to show up. But like the reality of being a mum is that the plans get, I don't know how you say this. How would anyone else explain this? Like things get thrown in the air or things just come at you that you didn't even expect really, really often. And you just have to keep
Mhm.
keep going somehow. I don't know. How has that been? Has anyone else experienced this? What's it been like for you? How do you come back from that? I'd love to hear from you, Jade, because you've just moved house and that was like a long thing in the waiting as well. Like, how did you do that? Like, and then your kids were all terribly sick last week and you're still like posting stories and talk about how you show up.
Um, I just do.
No, you don't just do. You dig deep somewhere or you stay positive or how do you keep showing up, Jade?
Yeah. I just think I know I have to get me to where I want to be. So I
Yeah.
have a strong vision and a
Yes.
strong direction on
Yes.
I need to go, and I know that this is will help me if I keep showing up because it's really important to me.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. So I like the contrast there. Like probably Pam, you have a big vision too. You definitely do, but you attribute your showing up this last week to your integrity and what you said you would be there for, and these people that have said yes to you. And Jade, you're in your mind, you go to the vision and the purpose and why you're pushing into it just that little
Mm.
bit more, even if your world is in chaos.
Mm. Always seems to be a little bit. What's going on?
Look, it's no small feat to have three kids
Mm.
at home, homeschooling full time, now living on a massive farmy place, lifestyle block with
Yes.
amazing gardens,
Yes.
and
It also
showing up
comes
for
lots
your
of pressure
business.
to learn about what I need to do with them
But I,
because
but
I
I
don't have a
think
clue.
I love how you've said it to me a few times, and you've found a way of thinking at it about it. The garden needs like every day, what do you say, like a small but every day is
Yeah.
going to achieve the goal, and
Yeah.
that's so what we're doing, right? Build a personal brand in a year. The goal is under 3 hours a week, so all you need to commit to, which can be hard, is 3 hours. Like I need to find 3 hours. How am I going to find 3 hours? Is it 20 minutes a day? I don't, 20 times 7, I don't think that's 3 hours, but like you just need to find the blocks where you can build it into your life. And breaking it down makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you got anything you want to add, Kieran? Because I think you were gonna like, has anything thrown you off rhythm and how did you get back on track?
Yeah, so sometimes the busyness of life has thrown me off a few projects that I've been trying to do. So,
Yeah.
um, what I found helpful lately was just, picking a small part of a project. My boy
Yes.
helped me figure out, what to work on next, and
Yeah.
then I just wrote down everything that I need to do to finish that part. And the goal was to finish it by the end of the month.
Yeah.
And there's 30 things on that list. I was like, right, I have to get through one a day if I'm going to get there by the end of the month.
Oh, awesome.
Um, and some days I have not done one, so I am behind. However, I have to pay my kid $10 at the end of the month if I haven't completed it. So there's a
Whoa,
little bit of
that's a
pain for me.
motivator.
Yeah, I get motivated by pain and rewards. So I was like, right, when I do finish the project, I get this packet of cookies I really want. I'm going to
Yeah.
make them. They're like healthy cookies, but I only get that once I finish a project. But if I do not finish by the specific time, then I have to pay him. So, I need a push sometimes because yeah, life gets busy, you end up just doing other things and never progressing the actual goal. So
Yeah.
yeah, and otherwise setting time aside in the week to do specific things like, a Facebook post or something. It's like, right, that's done on a specific day at a specific time, and I
Yes.
just sit down and do it.
It's been such a blessing to me to have this weekly call because you guys are here. So, like, I'm going to show up, right? And I'm going to show up prepared and I'm going to show up with great value. But it means that, like, it's actually building the brand in so many ways for me as well. And I'm just like, honestly, the idea to do this weekly Zoom was literally just like a Holy Spirit, like, it fell into my heart or my head or somewhere. And I've just like I took a while before I committed to it because I was not sure that I could maintain the commitment. I had to, it was almost like a bravery thing, like, okay, Alicia, like you can do this, like you can. And I'm so thankful I have an amazing husband who like makes that possible as well. But yeah, celebrate us. And Rita, I know you've got lots of stories, but we'll keep going. We'll get your feedback on the next one. Thank you guys. Okay, so let's go straight back into the content for today's call. So we're going to talk about two different things. You will remember this from when we did it last time, but as always, I've changed it up a little bit and got a little different perspective, something else to focus on. This content is so many layered, really, if you think about building a personal brand. It's actually so exciting to me that we can learn so much about one thing. Okay, so today we're going to talk about diversifying our content. So I reflected last time we did this that I rely a lot on written posts and I needed to spend some time on short videos and reels. We've talked about that a bit, but I'm going to give us a strategy for a new type of content you might not have done a lot of. And then the second thing we're going to talk about is how to start building an email list and owning your own following. Okay, because that's really important. Okay, so let's dive in to diversifying our content. So I know all of you have built a foundation for your personal brand. You know what your mission is. You've got some values. You've started posting. So let's talk about how we can add some depth and different types of content. And we're going to be talking today about a particular kind of post called a behind the scenes storytelling and a way to engage with our audience through that. So, why would you want to do this? Why would you want to let people in on the behind the scenes of your life? And how do I even start thinking about that? I think about some of us like to be in the background. So, why would we tell anyone about our life in the background? The whole point of being in the background is no one needs to know that part. But some of the amazing reasons that we should be telling people about the behind the scenes of our life is that it builds trust and relatability. So when people feel like they know you, they're more likely to engage, support, and buy from you. Okay. I've been researching a magnesium spray this week, and can I tell you, there are so many magnesium sprays out there. But what I've discovered is that I want to know who's selling them. And if I can see the face of the person who sells it, I feel like I'm going to want to trust it a little bit more. That's just like inside of me. I'm like looking at all the different ones and all the beautiful branding and I'm signed up to all these email lists now. Some of them are Kiwi, some of them are Aussie. I'm looking, really at the end of the day, most of them are pretty much the same. But what I'm looking for is something that stands out. Pam, they're not the same, are they? Come on, talk to me about it. You're laughing.
No, I'm just thinking you've seriously gone overkill on your research.
No, but what happens is you research one, and then on Facebook, it keeps bringing up new ones for you to look at. And I'm like, sweet. What's this guy got? What's this one got? But they're all about the
But
same
isn't it
price.
the danger of social media though that we end up like because and then like you start researching on price and you're like, oh, I'll save like $5 if I buy that, and then you're like, wait a minute, I've just spent an hour now researching, like that's $100 of my time down the drain because I've been researching magnesium spray. I often think about that. I'm like, sometimes I just have to get over the research and just get the job done.
Actually, Karen, I like your point. Karen saying, it's way cheaper to buy the magnesium crystals and make your own spray. Not all of it's actually made from the magnesium flakes. Some of the sprays I've discovered are made from something else, like a distilled, I don't know. It's not all from magnesium flakes. Some brands have another, I've learned a
But
lot,
you can
right?
get oil too, right? Magnesium oil. Can you like make your own rub or something?
So the now we're going into it. The oil isn't actually an oil, but it feels oily. Okay, so magnesium oil feels oily because of the properties of it.
Yeah,
Karen,
it's a
quickly
specific
educate
type of
us.
magnesium. Yeah, so there's a specific type of magnesium that they use. It's like a crystal form, and then you add water to it, becomes the magnesium oil spray. One time, my husband wanted to get it, so we actually bought a massive sack of the crystals because it was just really cheap compared to the tiny sprays that you get. And in the end, we moved house, and I had all this magnesium crystal left over, so I sold it cheap, and we moved. But we've
Cool.
still got a container of it somewhere. Um,
Oh, cool.
but personally, I actually take Epsom salts because I get cramps if I don't have enough magnesium. So
Ah,
yeah, and my son is the same. He'll get cramp within 2 nights if we don't have magnesium. So we just add like quarter teaspoon of Epsom salts to our water every day and
and that does
drink
it for
that.
you.
It does, yeah,
That's
totally stops the
awesome.
cramps. Had so many cramps and I didn't know I needed magnesium.
Wow. Okay, guys, we've just learned a bit more about magnesium, but what I wanted to point out was that it's hard to know who to trust, right? Like I'm looking at all of these brands, they're all basically, sorry guys, mostly the same. I have to say one brand said, why should you buy from us? Why are we different? I thought that was helpful. It did make me trust them a little bit more. But let's go back to sharing behind the scenes posts. So it's going to build trust and reliability. When people feel like they know you, they're more likely to engage, support, and buy from you. It's going to help you stand out from the crowd. So your personal experiences and insights are going to set you apart from others in your niche. And lastly, it's going to create an emotional connection. So people don't just buy products, they buy from brands they trust and relate to. So I'm going to help you today create a behind the scenes piece of content which will make you stand out more than just another business. Okay, it's going to make you memorable and trustworthy. So here's 5 different ideas of kind of behind the scenes posts you could do. Here we go. Work progress is number 1. Share how you plan content, organize your day, or juggle business and motherhood. You might want to do a post on lessons from the week. So something that's challenged or inspired you and how it applies to your business. You might want to share raw and real moments, a small win, a setback, a moment of reflection that others can relate to. You could share how you do what you do. Lisa did a great one of these a little while ago. She shared going into her factory and the process of making the peanut butter. I thought that was really cool. So walk through your process, whether it's creating a product, brainstorming content, or managing business tools. And lastly, a throwback post. So you might want to compare where you were a year ago to where you are today. And Jade, you've played with that, but I reckon there's a cool post pending on your side of where you guys were a year ago and where you are now. And some of the growth and changes. And you could do it on different angles, right? Like you could do it where you're living, but you could also do it with your business and the different, like where you were a year ago in your business and where you are now. We could all do it with our posting, where I was a year ago with my posts and where I am now. Okay, so here's a little template, and then I'm gonna ask if someone would volunteer to go like to build one together with me. So I'll share my one first. So you start, number 1, start with a real life moment. This is all going to be on the in the Google Drive. If you sign up for the emails for Mum with a Side Hustle, you get access to the free Google Drive, and I have worksheets for every week in there. So number 1, you want to start with a real life moment. Okay, so it's got a few little prompts. You could say this week or I found myself, or today I looked like. So you want to bring a real life moment, honest, messy, human. So this is my one. This week I had to readjust because we unexpectedly had to head away from home to help family. Okay, that's my example. I'll run through the process in my example and then hopefully there's a volunteer. Okay, number 2, you want to add a feeling or a thought. I find these templates or structures really helpful for me to prompt me to think about how to tell a story. So you add the feeling or a thought, I felt, or I kept thinking, or it reminded me. So something that shares your mindset, your challenge, or your insights. So this is the one I wrote. I kept thinking I need to get my posting for the week planned, but I wanted to be genuine about the struggle of staying genuine online, about the struggle of staying consistent while being out of routine. My kids needed me more that week because we were away and they were somewhere different. Even though it was fun, there was lots of learning. So here I am just sharing like a brain dump of how I was thinking. These were the conflicting thoughts that I was having. Number 3, you want to zoom out to your message. So this is where you start talking about what it made you realize, or this applies to my business or my life because, or here's what I'm learning. You want to offer some sort of reflection that your audience can connect with. Okay, so my example is it made me realize again that I need to flow with the seasons, to take a few minutes to acknowledge that this week is going to look different, assure myself that I find a gap, and encourage myself not to give up altogether. And then lastly, number 4, you want to end with a question or invitation. So you want to create a conversation. Have you ever felt like this too? Tell me something real from your week. Tag a mum who gets it. You want to spark some conversation. I like the tag a mum who gets it one. So here's the post. I took those 3 things I wrote, I put them in ChatGPT, and we had a conversation about it. I didn't like the first post that it made me. I said, that does not sound like me. And so it wrote it again. It's almost like telling someone off, hey, that doesn't sound like me. Change that. I don't like it. And it goes, oh, I'm so sorry. That's what ChatGPT tells me. I'm so sorry. That doesn't feel like you. Let's make it closer to your language. That's what it says. So here we go. This is what my post was, and I have posted. I wanted to post it before the call because I wanted to I wanted to do a post, and here was one ready to go. So here's my post. This week I had to readjust. We unexpectedly headed away from home to help family, and it threw my routine completely. I kept thinking I need to plan my posts, but I also didn't want to force something that didn't feel true. The reality is my kids needed more of me this week. They were in a new environment, and even though it was fun, it was also full on. Lots of learning, lots of emotions, and lots of presence required. It made me realize again that I need to flow with the season I'm in. Sometimes that means pausing, reassessing, and giving myself a little grace. So this week I gave myself permission to believe I'd find the gap and remind myself again, don't give up, just adapt. Have you ever had to find your rhythm again in the middle of a messy week? So that was the little post that I created. And yeah, I think, well, it'd be interesting to hear. What do you guys like? If you read a post like that, would it make you feel like I was relatable? Or let's talk about some feedback. Like, what would it be like to read that? And thinking about it as well, I could have made a reel about it. I could have just talked to the camera. What did you guys think of that? Be honest.
I think it sounded great. Like, sounds totally like you, something like you would say, and yeah, totally relatable, and just kind of gets to like just like a little window into your life, and I think that's really
Mm.
nice.
What
Yeah,
did it
I
make
thought
you
it was
think,
worded
Jay?
really awesome.
What did it make you think, Jay?
If you wanted me to reply,
Oh, yes.
I probably wouldn't.
Yeah,
I know,
talk
well,
about that. No,
no,
yeah.
because I read it.
Yes.
It's funny because I don't know. I don't know why I didn't reply. I've actually seen it too, and I
What
didn't write anything. I probably could have written a million things.
do you think there's too much to reply to? Or it takes too much thinking to reply to that? That's a
Yes,
really good point.
yes,
Sometimes it's too deep.
yes. So,
Yeah.
and then some. Do you see those engagement questions that people just
Yeah.
pop up? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know an example. But if it was like a one-word answer or like something like
Yes.
that, I'm more
Simple.
likely to
Yes.
reply to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
I agree.
telling you what.
No,
Yeah.
I absolutely
I mean,
agree
it's a
with
great
that.
post and it does sound cute and I love it. But I didn't,
It's
yeah,
okay.
it's
I
interesting
asked you
what I
for
said.
proper feedback, Jade, and I
Yeah,
think you've
okay.
given me great
I
feedback.
gave it to you.
Yes. You gave it, girl.
But I just wanted, yeah, because when you asked that question, I kind of asked myself, why didn't I reply? Or why didn't I say
Yeah.
something?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what I was just thinking through when I just said it.
I've been finding myself in that exact position. Sometimes I wonder if it's that my head is too full and I don't actually have the space. But I agree with you. When I put one-liners up, I notice the difference. I try and make them really easy to answer, and sometimes I know they haven't been easy because no one replies. So this is a art, guys. This is a skill that we've got to develop over time, and I don't think there's any loss in posting this, even if it's too hard for someone to reply to. Like I might get. I think there was a post I did about how hard it is to show up online and feel vulnerable and not know what people think about you. And at the end of that one, I put in that they were welcome to message me. And there was also like a prompt they could reply to the post. But I actually had like three people reach out to me and be like, wow, like I read that post and that's totally how I feel. So replying online, even though it helps the algorithm, wasn't going to be necessarily the outcome for that particular post, but it did do what it needed to do in terms of like the sharing vulnerably actually created a connection with people so much so that they took time to message me personally. I was like, oh, that is a win. That is a big one. Okay, so I'll just cover this quickly. You can play with different formats, but keep in mind that the goal is to stand out from others. And you're always going to stand out if you do this because you're sharing about you, your progress, and your perspective. And there's no one who has those things. Okay. Those things are unique to you. A lot of us feel like, man, I've got nothing different from anybody else, or everyone else is going to articulate that better than I am. But no one can tell your story but you. No one can write the post that I've written. They can write it for themselves, but the circumstances will be different. The feelings they had will be different. The thoughts they had might be slightly different. So like what I'm trying to say is when you show up like this, you show up with uniqueness and value. So here's a few different format ideas. Like I said, I could have turned it into an Instagram reel, and I still might. Instagram or TikTok, you could do a time lapse of your day and talk about it. I just put a post up with a few videos because that's literally the videos I had from when we were away. You could do a carousel and tell a story. So that's the one where you flick through the posts and you put words on the top of them. Um, you could tell an Instagram, you could just do stories, like Instagram stories, like on the progress of your day. You could write a nice long blog post about it. And I actually think I kind of miss blogging. Hands up, who had a blog like 10 years ago or more? Who had a blog? Yeah, like blogging was beautiful, right? All that time processing and crafting a piece of story. I kind of miss that. I miss emailing my friends. Yeah, Pam,
It,
have a
it's still a thing. It's very much still a thing. And especially in the LinkedIn world, you see people will like share an insightful post and then link you to a blog and even like quite long reads. And I've seen like from my friends that do that and do it well and do it very authentically, they get like 30 plus comments of people that have literally read the entire blog post. So it's still a thing.
Oh, maybe it's pending, guys. Maybe the blog is coming one day. I feel like the more I learn about building a personal brand, I want to be like in every space. But thank goodness for motherhood, I have to focus. Okay, so it's really important that we don't overthink, that authenticity beats perfection, and you want to share what feels real and engaging for you. So here's a question. I'd love to hear from you guys. Which of these types of posts would you feel most natural and meaningful creating right now? So I'll go through them again. 1, work progress. 2, lessons from the week. 3, raw and real moment. 4, how you do what you do. And 5, throwback or growth story. I'm going to put them in our chat. And I think it'd be really cool if you could put what number you would be able to tell a story from right now, or just unmute and tell us which one. Oh, Kieran, I just read your comment there. I'm wondering if a real simple call to action might work better. Drop a heart in the comments. Yeah, that would have been good. I can change my post. Sorry, Pam, you were about to unmute. Which one could you do right now?
Um, the two that come to mind for me was raw and real, and then like throwback, which I intend on doing heaps of, and I already have. If you guys have seen any of
Yes.
the
Yeah.
posts that I've made, because so much of like just so many amazing things that took place in a particular season that I'm drawing
Yeah.
from to, you know, be the passion and the fuel behind what we've decided to do long term. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So, if you were to choose one of those two right now, if we were going to have a little play with it, which one would you choose?
probably the easiest one would be throwback, I would think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you got a memory right now?
Hard to think of one that I haven't already shared on my I've got heaps. I'm not very good at telling short stories, so I'm probably a bad person to choose.
No, don't say that about yourself. You have some beautiful insights.
Yeah, but it depends if you've got half an hour.
Guys, it's actually true. Pam has a lot of words to use every day. But I love that about you.
I
I'm
just feel
not
like I'm like selling you short if I only tell you the 3 minute version.
When I came back from living in China, they told me this piece of advice and it was so helpful. They said there'll be people who want to hear the 60 minutes, sit down at a cafe, talk about your story and your experiences. There'll be people who can stand for 10 minutes, and there'll be the people who need 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And it was really helpful for me because I'd lived this whole year overseas, seen like crazy, wild, amazing, different life. And it was just great for someone to give you that advice that not everyone is able to give you. 10 minutes or even 60 minutes. Most people just want the highlight reel of 10 seconds. It was amazing and I loved it. A lot of people just want to hear that.
Mm.
Okay, do you want to do a real life moment, Pam, or do you want me to choose someone else?
Yeah, I could do a quick real life moment.
So let's use the prompts to try and help us stay on track. How about that?
Okay, do I need to read something? Have you put them in the chat or?
No, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you
Okay,
to finish the
perfect.
sentence,
That
okay?
makes it way easier.
Okay, so let's start with a real life moment. Have you got a memory that's come to mind? You don't have
Mm-hmm.
to tell us what it is. Okay. So I found myself, and then you can finish the sentence with a real life moment.
One sentence. Um, Probably in the greatest moment of awe in my life.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, stay there. Hold that thought. Now we're going to add a feeling or a thought. So the prompt is going to be I felt.
Oh, but I feel like awe was my feeling, wasn't it?
So I found myself in the greatest, say that again. I found myself in,
Probably in the greatest moment of awe that I've ever experienced
okay.
after hanging up the phone, maybe from this particular call.
So
Mm.
I think you could still expand on how you felt. So tell us about I felt, explain a bit
Sure.
more of that awe. So I felt shocked or amazed or what did you
Yeah, I
feel?
think I felt overwhelmed and like I just could not believe that
Mhm.
this had just happened. Yeah, it's hard to
Okay.
describe.
Yep. And so what the point of this one is share your mindset, challenge, or insight. So was it a challenge or was it
No,
a
it would have been, it was
revelation?
probably possibly an insight. I don't
Okay.
know.
Okay, so can you describe the insight in kind of one sentence? Because you were shocked and you were amazed that
Well, you
you had
guys don't even know
discovered.
what actually happened, did
No,
you? Did
so
that
so
come later?
this piece needs to describe what happened.
Okay, the moment that I'm about to share. So what was the
Yep.
start of my sentence again?
So I felt, so you said I felt
Uh-huh.
shocked and
Uh-huh.
amazed, I think was what you said.
Overwhelmed. Yeah.
Yeah, overwhelmed because
So this is where I'm explaining what happened. Okay, because I didn't have a grid for the way God can provide to this extent. Yeah.
okay. Do you want to give us another sentence to help us understand how God had provided?
Yeah. So then I have to tell the story a wee bit. Um I
This
had
is
just
where
got I had
this is
just
where
gotten off.
ChatGPT is so helpful because you
Yeah,
could write this whole massive
this
story
is
and
what
then it
I
would help
do.
you like succinct it down a little bit. But
Yeah.
okay, tell
This
us.
is my
Sorry.
life with ChatGPT. I'm always like, so I've written 3 pages. Can you turn it into a um I had just gotten off the phone to IRD, of which I was owing $8,000. I had been 6 months on the mission field, and I had no idea that this money was owing until my parents found a letter from IRD that was now this money was due within like a couple of days. Prior to that, I'd written a letter requesting them to consider writing off half of the debt. And in this phone call, I had just spoken to the person that was managing my case who had got the go ahead from their supervisor to write off the entire debt that I was owing. Yeah. And I was like planning to go on mission long term. And so that I didn't even have $8,000 left in my account at that point. So if they had said no, it would have been a very tough moment for me. So
Okay, let's do there's two more steps. So we want to zoom out to the message. So the purpose of this now is to offer a reflection that your audience can connect with. So your prompt would be, here's what I learned.
Um, I learned that I should be anxious for nothing, because the God that I serve is more powerful than I could ever imagine. Yeah.
Oh. And then you want to end with a question or invitation. So, what kind of question would you like to end with? It doesn't need to be perfect. So, some examples are, have you ever felt like this? Tell me something real from your week, or tag a mum who gets it. So that might not be the right one for you.
I think I would love to hear maybe where, or maybe this is not a great one, but I guess I would want people to be reflecting on like where they're feeling like they've got like lack-based thinking, or
Or
you
like it's
know,
something impossible, eh? Like,
yeah, like caught in a hard place, but then like need that reminder of God's provision. Though I don't think people will be vulnerable enough to say like, yes, that's me. This is what, this is where I'm doubting God or whatever. Like you're
you
not
could
doubting God, but
swing
you
it.
know what I mean.
Yeah, you could swing it the other way. Like, have you ever had an unexpected blessing? And then people could share that, and then that would create an
Yeah.
environment where people might have more expectation for more blessing to come their way, and then that would get rid of lack-based thinking. Like if I was to read a whole lot of like, wow,
Yeah.
what amazing blessings.
Yeah, maybe even especially for people to get, I would probably write it in a way where I would prompt them to like reflect on something that's happened in the past that can carry them through the season ahead.
Yes. Oh, yes, I like
Um,
that. Yeah.
yeah, and then to share what like a little bit of their story. But again, it is a longer response, so I know you often people are not as inclined to write more than a couple of sentences.
It's all right though. Like I think we need to think about both. Like we need to think about easy ways for people to connect. But if that's all we ever do, then we might not go to the deep places that some people are willing to connect over. Like if I'm like I follow this really interesting account on Instagram, and they is quite a controversial sort of topic that people find. And people write really long replies to their reels, really long. So there are definitely people out there who want to write something long. It might
Mm,
not be people who we're currently like connecting with, but that doesn't mean that we haven't, like I just think create the opportunity and see what happens.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you think you're
Cool.
going to use that one now, Pam? I like it. It was
I
very
probably will, but not.
eye-catching.
I think I'd completely restructure it. But yes,
Cool. Cool. Awesome.
maybe not in the immediate future, but at some point I
Yeah.
will.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I was engaged. I like how Jade wrote, I'm hooked. That was so cool. Okay. Have you guys got the gist of this now of how to write like something sort of behind the scenes story? Will that be helpful to anyone? I'm excited to read yours this week, Kieran. Last week you went away and did your homework. Have you got one that's coming to mind for you?
Um, yeah, I'm just thinking of about one. I don't know if I could structure it the same way, but I had a painting that I did for a church and for like one of their conferences. I painted it one day, took my baby to church to paint it. I had a smashing headache, knocked it out, did it in a few hours while he was sleeping, and then I left it with them, and they decided that the words, because I'd done this one, and I was like, the words, Spirit lead me where my trust is without borders, let me walk upon the waters wherever you call me. And I did that with like this beach scene and a few footprints in the sand and put real sand and things on it and shells. And they decided that the words didn't stand out enough. So without asking me, they got a vivid and drew around the outline of all the letters. And they were thinking I just did it for the conference, and I was thinking I'll do it for your conference, but I want it, I'll sell it later. So I was extremely disappointed because I was like, why didn't you call me? They're like, we know you're busy with a new baby and da da da. And I'm like, you could have just called me. So I was really upset about that.
So what was
Because yeah,
what would be the like the lesson in that, or the like the message that you would add to that sort of post?
I think in some ways not trusting people with artwork, that's not like making sure you're really clear in expectations. Like
Yeah.
I also took that piece of artwork to another kind of show thing, and then I forgot to pick it up on time. They put it on the floor. Somebody did something into it and smashed the shells on it. So I had a bad, bad go that painting. So I was like, I did all my best to take off all the vivid, and then I had to fix the shells, and it's this massive piece of artwork. It was on a pallet, and I didn't want to keep it long term, so I actually did want to get it out of the house and sell it. But yeah, I spent hours and hours and hours fixing that thing, and sold it in the end for quite a small donation, just to get it out of the place, just to let it go. But I don't know. But yeah, I just think some ways don't trust people with your work is a good idea, or at least tell them, hey, I know I did it for, your conference, etc., but I want to keep it afterwards. Just be really clear. And also maybe just, learn to let things go a little bit. I get really attached to my artwork, and I find it hard to let people even touch it, let alone completely change it without my permission. So
That it is a
yeah.
good insight into, you could maybe twist, I mean, someone else give some thoughts, but I'm almost thinking like you could do this post around what it's like to be an artist, what it's really like to be an artist. Like your art is your baby, and you would never let anyone draw vivid on your baby or leave it on the floor. Like maybe there's a
Mm.
way you could tilt this to make it more raw and vulnerable. I don't know, Rita or Pam, if you guys had some thoughts, I think it'd be cool to like develop this just a little bit because it's such an interesting post. What do
Yeah,
you
it's
think?
hard to know how to steer it because, I fix things up with the people. Like the person who gave the go ahead for this other person to draw on it, like she's like the loveliest person and never would have done
Yeah,
anything about my
yeah,
blog. And she didn't even want me to confront the person who actually did the work because they were just doing it on their kind of instructions. So I never, brought it up with the person who actually drew on it
yeah.
because they were just doing what they were told. But yeah, I kind of managed to write an email, sleep on it and write a really well-formed email without going too hard into the person who, told people to
Yeah.
do it. But yeah, loveliest people to deal with, just a few upsetting things along the way.
How would you make that into a post, Pam? Like, what are you thinking?
Man, there's definitely a few angles you could take. For me, it just it resonates because I had a similar experience, but completely different, not to do with art, but to do with something. It just made me think of like something that's precious that that other people haven't valued, and then like probably where there should have been some better communication and expectations set around it that I definitely found incredibly frustrating and somewhat disrespectful. Um, and so I definitely can relate, Kieran, to like how you're feeling, though it wasn't artwork, but it was something that was expensive to me. So yours cost you a lot of time and your heart into it. Mine cost me a lot of money and planning and stuff. Um, but I don't know in terms of whether you would want people to be sharing those stories or whether you would want to share more around like lessons learned in terms of like whether it be about communication or like relationships or I don't know if there's like some particular lessons learned for you, but whether you want to more engage people from that perspective of like how they've navigated, I don't know, something related. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know
it's kind
how
of tricky.
exactly how you would frame it, but to get people to share possibly any like lessons learned or something to have a positive spin on
Yeah.
it. Because for me, my natural response is like, I want to tell my, sob story about what happened to me after reading yours. But I don't know, Alicia, I know you're probably like, I've noticed with your posts, you always try to get people to, if they're sharing something difficult, you usually try to get them to reflect on the
The
good, which
lesson.
I
Yeah.
think these guys have just given you feedback that it's can feel like too much thinking. Like
Yeah.
when I
Yeah.
read your post, because I had read it as well, and for me, I didn't respond either, and it was like if you had asked. Has something thrown me off lately? I'd be like, yeah, something has, and I would have like got right in there. But then it's like the next stage of having to think about. I can't
Think
even
about the
remember what the
lesson.
last.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like that can be I know it's because you want to create like positive outputs out of it so that like everyone's not just like their woe is me
Yeah.
story. But I mean, it might be a way to get engagement. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. I'll be honest, I was rushing, so I didn't think too deeply about my question. Um, But going back to like what we're talking about with Kieran's thing, like if we go back to the reason we're posting, right? So we want to stand out in a crowded space. We want to become trustworthy and reliable, and we want to create an emotional connection. So I think like, Kieran, like sharing a raw moment as an artist where your work was not valued, basically, not treated like a treasure, like that I think that would create an emotional connection. But in doing that, I would always, now this is just my personal opinion, like I would stay away from villainizing the actions of the people and more about the way it made me feel because and I'm always finding this, like you want to be open and honest about the things of your life. You want to be real, but in being real, you can sometimes make others look bad, and that's not really what I want to be known for. And
Yeah.
so like there were parts of the last week that if I'd written it differently, it might have made someone or something become the focus when I wanted the focus to be about me and how I was responding. And so, yeah, I'm just wondering, like, as you figure out how to talk about this, because you found it really hard, to go back to them and give them this feedback about what they'd done to your artwork. That was difficult for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I hate confrontation, but I was really upset about it. And
Yeah.
yeah, but I would hate to also write a post and then they see it and then they
Yeah.
remember, like,
I think
yeah.
about that a lot. I think about that, my stuff's out there and people can see it. So I don't think you need to, personally, I don't think you need to shy away from being honest, but I think that there's a way you can focus on your responses rather than their actions, is all I would probably say is like, this is how, and I would get ChatGPT to help me stay in that angle. I would literally write a post and then I'd be like, hey, like I think I'm making that other person sound bad. How could I make this more about me and about the way I've acted? And it would probably help you rewrite it so it's more down that angle. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. That
Yeah, it's a tricky
I
one.
hope you write that post. I think that it's got a
I
lot to
might
it.
do. Yeah, I've got a picture of me actually with the painting, like a really cool picture.
Yeah.
Um, after I fixed it. So what I actually did in the end was I couldn't completely get rid of the vivid because it was drawn straight onto wood. So what I actually did in the original painting, I cut letters out of vinyl, I stuck them on the palette, and then I painted over the top with like thick acrylic and did the sand and everything, and then I peeled the letters off to show the wood. So I couldn't undo all of
It's a
that.
lot of work.
But in the end, I ended up covering it up with gold. So it's kind of like, I guess, redemption, like sometimes God takes stuff and he weaves gold through our lives.
Yeah.
And so it's like it kind of became these golden words instead. And it didn't have the raw wood that I really wanted, but it just had to do. And the person still loved it who got it in the end, hung it in the entryway or something. And I literally had no space for it. So it blessed somebody in the end. But yeah.
And then, like, there's another, like, I think sometimes with these stories we're telling, there's like a series in there, right? Like, I'm actually working on a series right now for our family because we're about to transition. So I want to do a series of posts about that whole story. And what I did was I got the AI tool to help me figure out how to story that, to help me make a series of posts. So eventually you'll see those posts. Um, but I think our next season of Mum with a Side Hustle is going to be still personal branding, but I really think that this whole area of storytelling is super interesting, and it really is how people can engage with us. So that's kind of my next leaning is probably into storytelling because I don't know if we're going to get to email lists today, but because I've found so much value in for myself in crafting my stories the way that I've been working on for Mum with a Side Hustle.
I was going to just quickly say that would be helpful for someone like me who wants to talk too much. If I can just turn my long story into a series, then I can get it all out.
Oh, is that why you look so excited? Because you're like, oh, now I've finally got a way to explain
Yeah,
everything.
exactly. Because every time I write, it's like there's so many precious details, even in the story I just shared with you guys. Like, if you knew all
Yeah.
the details that connected with that story, it has way more impact. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And maybe that's where, Pam, you have your blog You
Yeah.
do have a blog, but you have posts that link to it. So it's like the person who wanted the 10-second story of when I lived in China for a year versus the person who wants the 10-minute, like the 1 hour sit down. And so you can offer everybody the 10 seconds, and some people will be like, sweet, that's great. And other people will be like, oh man, I wish she would share more about that.
Mm,
Um, yeah, I would right now for you, I would lean into series because then all the work's
mm.
done for you and you can be posting more consistently,
I feel
like
like with blogs, it takes an extra level of perfectionism. Well, for me, anyways, like it's just like I literally have three unpublished blog posts that are like more than three-quarters done, but I'm just
yeah,
like get the time to polish them and get them finished to the point where I could actually publish and know that this is like because
beautiful
it
and
is, because
complete
then if
and yeah,
someone reads your blogs and they want to go and see the history, and it's almost like writing a book, like not quite to that standard, but it's definitely a lot weightier than just posting something on social media.
yeah, absolutely. Rita says, I'm the opposite. I need to find more words. I do 10 seconds and I need to find the 1 minute. Storytelling's going to be great for you, Rita. I'm going to use all the prompts.
What I loved about what Kieran was sharing is that, like, I really enjoyed your posts, Kieran, but like the story has real emotion to it. And like, not that your others
Yes.
haven't, but it's like it stirs something up in you that's like, ugh. And it's like actually to hear more of that voice from you coming through on social media, I actually think it would be a great challenge for you to just publish it. Like publish something about it and to try and capture the full emotion of it as you write because I think it's going to get you like the ball rolling for you to start like connecting more with your heart and going deeper and deeper in the things that you share because people love that. Like that's what gets them excited and interested.
Yeah, it is a bit hard to share the deeper stuff, I think, but trying to figure out how to, yeah, do that.
Good. There you go.
Thank
This is
you.
an opportunity to start.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so surprising once you do it, and the people who connect with you, I think it's surprising how people respond versus what you thought the responses might be like.
Mm. Yeah, it was funny. Some people thought my last painting was a photo. I'm like, oh, okay. I wasn't even trying to
I
be
thought that was
trying to
interesting. I
film it.
didn't think that was a photo. I loved it, but it didn't think it was, but
Yeah.
it's
Whereas
super
other ones where
interesting.
I actually try to make them more realistic, I could kind of understand, but that one was like a probably paint in 3 or 4 hours kind of deal.
This whole thing is so fun, right? We get to do so much learning. Okay, let's talk about building an email list. And the most important thing you need to realize with building a personal brand online is that you don't own the platform that you are communicating on. And I do think it's important to go over this today because if you're just watching the series and you get to this session, I'm not going to be doing you any good if I don't tell you this. The social media platform that you build your brand on can change its algorithm, can remove your account, can do all sorts of things that you have no control over. So if you don't have a direct connection with your audience, then overnight you could be completely disconnected and your business down the drain. Not down the drain. Yes, probably a little bit down the drain. You'd have to start again. So to prevent that, you are their business, right? They're in charge. You're not in charge. So to prevent that, we're going to talk a little bit about email lists and creating a valuable lead magnet. So here's some reasons why you should build some sort of email list. Number one, you need to own your audience. Social media platforms can change, your email list is yours. Number two, there's higher rates of engagement. So emails often get a higher visibility and response rate than social media posts because it's directly in people's inboxes. Although I'll be honest, I delete a lot of them if they come too often or it's not a topic I'm really that excited about. So, yeah, we can definitely work on how we engage people. Number three, stronger relationships. Regular emails build trust and keep you top of mind when people see you in there. Number four, more sales and conversions. Subscribers are more likely to buy from you because they already trust you. And number five, better targeting. You can segment your list to send the right content to the right people. That's it as you grow. So here's how you build an email list. Number one, you need to choose some sort of email marketing platform. There's heaps of them out there. Personally, right now, I am not at the point where I want to invest money in this. So I am using a spreadsheet, a Google form, and BCCing people into an email. Okay. BCC is blind copy. That means that not everyone sees who you've sent it to. And yes, I have had some people ask to unsubscribe, and that's totally fine. Like, that's really important. So it's not a proper database or anything like that. So you don't have to start there. You can do that. Thank you, Pam. There's lots of free ones. Cool. Okay, the next step is create a valuable lead magnet. This is a freebie that people want. So we did this on the call last time we did the challenge. If you want to know more about this, go back to it. The YouTube video is called Start Owning Your Leads, Build a Valuable Lead Magnet. So we're on YouTube, we're at Mum with a Side Hustle if you're looking for these videos. Number 3, you need to have some sort of opt-in form. So a landing page to collect emails. Literally, I'm using a Google form. So if you have a Gmail account, you have access to Google Drive, and in Google Drive, you can use their version of Excel, Word, PowerPoint. They just got slightly different names. Okay, so you can create what they call a form. And if you don't know how to do it, just look up a video on YouTube. There's so many. I'm just telling you the very, very simple way of doing this to get your ball rolling. Next, you need to promote it everywhere. So social media, content, collaborations as you talk to people. So this is where we've been talking about you need to have your offer. Right now, my offer is just like, hey, would you like to join us? You can pop me your email address and I'll give you a weekly email. Okay. So it's very, very simple. It's on my YouTube channel. It's on my Facebook. It's on Facebook group. The link to sign up for my emails is as many places as I can get at the moment. Sending a welcome email. I've just figured this out on Google Forms. So once someone pops their email into it, it sends them back an automatic response. And for me, on that automatic response, I've given them some free value. So I've given them the Google Drive for the Build a Personal Brand in a Year challenge. And every week I update it with a new tasks sheet or information sheet from the learnings. So I'm starting to build my valuable lead magnet just organically this way. I looked into a few different ideas that I've had, but in the end, I've felt like the best value that I can give people is the method for how to build a personal brand. And actually, it's been great to build that because when friends tell me what they're doing and what they want to do, I can be like, oh, well, here's where you start. And I've sent them the files that I've created. So now I know that that's a gap that other people don't have that information. And that's what I'm giving people. And then stay consistent with valuable emails. So set a goal for how often you want to send an email. For me, I've been trying to send it on a Thursday as part of sending out the link. Today I had to scale back my expectations because of the week that I've had, but I will be sending out an email ASAP with last week's call. So for me, it's just sending out last week's call with a little bit of content and also a link to any worksheets that I've made. And I make different worksheets depending on what's going on. So like today, I could take the how to write a behind the scenes post. I can create that template. And because you guys are with me, I know what's going to help you, right? Like we've been talking about it, and I can be like, okay, mums, it's in the Google folder. And it's going to be coming to you every week on the email, the link to the Google folder. So you don't have to go searching and hunting back on your old emails if you want to get connected with something. So yeah, that is the steps for building an email list. And I think that, yeah, you might not be ready yet, but keep it in the back of your mind. How am I going to do this? Maybe take some time to look into a email, what's it called? Email marketing platform. Just start thinking about what you might do and also start thinking about what is it that I have that it's valuable that people would like. Pam's done a really amazing series. That's her valuable lead magnet. And that helps people get a taste of what she has to offer to help get into the Idea Cooker program, which is the paid product. You've done so well with that, Pam. Okay, mamas, it's 2:08. We're going to finish this call. We're going to wrap it up now. But before we do, I'd love to hear from Rita because she hasn't got to talk all day. Rita, what's one thing you want to take away from today's call?
Here's my loud screaming children. To probably just start an email list because I've got some contacts that I could probably put into an email list if I think about it. But trying to get more people, I need to think about what I need to offer that people would want to hear about.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome. That's great, Rita. and we can chat more about that.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you guys all for being here. I want to, as I always do, I want to encourage you that each of you have a superpower because of the season that you're in. And when we face limits in life, these are actually invitations into transforming yourself into something even greater. And this is that whole mindset of the way you think about the hard things. Can you want to be thinking about hard things in a way that leads you back to hope rather than leads you away from the hope that things are going to get better and that you're going to be able to do it? So, yes, we do have to figure out how to build our dreams while mothering, but I really believe that we're going to be better mums and women when we follow these small ideas and when we lean into the passions that light us up. It doesn't have to be much, but sometimes we do have to educate those around us how they can support us and why our dreams matter. And one day I reckon they're going to turn around and they're going to see that we've become an inspiration and a blessing to them. So, whatever you guys are facing, whether in your parenting, your business, or your relationships, let's be women who see challenges and choose to rise. Before we go, please take a moment to drop a comment and say, I made it to the end of the call. And I would love to hear what your takeaway is. And I just want to thank Pam, Kieran, Rita, and Jade for such a rich conversation today. I hope this is helpful for people. I think it's so fun talking about our stories. Kieran says, I made it. I love hearing your guys, your stories, and I love talking about how we can craft these. And thank you for all your honest and beautiful feedback. I'm going to go and change my question on my post. But yeah, bless you guys, and we'll see you next week. We're going to be week 8 next week. And I may have to take a few weeks break again before we jump back into the Zoom so I can move house. Hopefully it all happens at the same time. But thank you so much for being here. Bless you guys on your journey, and you're well done for showing up for yourselves for building a personal brand in a year. See you later, guys. Have a great week. Bye.